This is a man who can predict the future. When he comes to the slot machine, he just casually presses it and the lucky prize comes easily. Cage has the ability to predict the future for 2 minutes, but he doesn't flaunt it everywhere. When he comes to the casino to play cards, he knows the outcome will be a win, but he bets very little. He only comes to play occasionally, but today, the casino's security manager, Robin, happens to be watching the monitor. He has worked at the casino for many years, and as long as there are players with abnormal behavior, they can't escape his close observation. He notices that Cage is calmly winning, but he can't see how Cage is cheating. Robin asks his subordinates about Cage's identity, but Cage just stares straight into the camera, as if he knows someone is talking about him behind his back. Cage's indifferent look makes Robin sense the provocation and immediately sends 2 people to table 27. However, Cage seems to have noticed, and then stands up and plans to leave. While Cage is waiting to exchange chips, an uninvited guest arrives.
Empty the drawer. Move.
Drop the gun now!
This tense scene turned out to be exactly the future Cage had predicted. Knowing the man's intentions, Cage stepped decisively forward to stop him as he was about to pull out his gun.
Step back! He was gonna shoot 2 people!
Cage didn't expect his kindness to get him into trouble. Robin mistook him for a robber. Robin immediately called all the security personnel in the casino and planned to catch Cage. Cage didn't panic. He used his foresight to avoid the security search. Even though there were surveillance personnel in the background reporting Cage's real-time location, Cage easily evaded security's pursuit. Security quickly blocked the exit of the casino. Cage took the opportunity to go to the restroom, remove his coat, and change into a new outfit, but it seemed that something was missing. He took the time to leave the lobby, and while the woman waited for the valet to park the car, Cage quickly got into the car, stepped on the gas, and drove away. Robin chased him out. He had no choice but to call the police. Cage hadn't gone far before several police cars were in pursuit. Seeing that he was about to be caught, he had to speed up even more. One moment of inattention and tragedy ensued, but fortunately, this was exactly the future Cage had predicted. To avoid the risk of being hit, he could only increase his speed further, adding an exciting second. In this way, Cage successfully avoids the crisis. This relatively minor robbery has caught the attention of CIA agent Kinney. The reason she is interested in this ordinary case is because she has been paying attention to Cage. Cage usually makes his living by performing magic, but only with the ability to predict the future. This unusual magic act has already caught Kinney's attention. She suspects that Cage has the ability to predict the future, but she can't find any proof. After watching the casino's surveillance video, Kinney becomes more convinced. Cage has just returned to his apartment. He often plays ball with friends in his spare time. His friend hopes he can quit sooner and live a normal life. Cage understands his friend's kindness, but all he wants to do now is find a woman. She appears in Cage's imagined future, but something is strange. Cage's predicted time limit is within 2 minutes, but the appearance of this woman is far beyond Cage's abilities. He decides to investigate further to find out why. While the two were talking, Cage predicted that the CIA would arrive soon. Cage decided to see what their purpose was. As Cage expected, Kinney found this place according to the location of the stolen vehicle. She hoped that Cage could do something for her by using his ability to predict the future to find a group of terrorists. It turned out that a shipment of nuclear weapons had gone missing in Russia a few months earlier. According to intelligence, the nukes had been transported to Los Angeles, but the CIA was unable to locate the cache. It seems that Cage's powers can only predict things within 2 minutes, and only things related to him, so he can't help Kinney complete the mission. Kinney thought Cage was deliberately not cooperating and planned to arrest Cage directly. Luckily, this scene was just an imagined future. Since everything is already known, Cage escapes beforehand. When Kinney brings her subordinates, she suspects that Cage must have used his predictive powers to escape in advance. What Kinney doesn't know is that her every move is being watched by terrorists. They find Robin, the head of security, and question him about Kinney's investigation of the casino. Only then do they learn of Cage's abilities. Despite being searched by both sides, Cage makes his way to a restaurant where he is about to meet the woman he has been imagining. When the time comes to 8:09, the woman actually appears in front of him. Looking at the woman walking toward him, Cage stares directly at her without hesitation, confirming that she is the person he is looking for.
Hello. I noticed you were alone too. Do you mind if I join you?
Actually, I do.
Although Cage's pickup attempt fails this time, he does not give up. He uses various excuses to get to know the woman in front of him, but all fail. After 4 or 5 consecutive pickups, Cage is directly rejected by Liz. Finally, Liz doesn't even give Cage a chance to speak. Just as Cage is at a loss, the appearance of a man creates an opportunity for Cage. The man comes up to Liz and sits down. He turns out to be Liz's ex-boyfriend. This time he wants to get back together with Liz. However, Liz has already lost interest in him and rejects his request outright. Unexpectedly, the man doesn't give up and pulls hard. At a critical moment, Cage takes the opportunity to stop the man's rough behavior. The man is very angry and wants to teach Cage a lesson directly, but Cage relies on his predictive powers to avoid it perfectly. Although he did it out of kindness to teach the man a lesson, Cage did not win Liz's favor. It wasn't until Liz got up to leave that Cage realized this and changed his mind. Cage chose to take the man's rudeness in silence and fell directly to the ground. Liz saw that Cage was hurt for her and immediately kicked the ex-boyfriend out. In this way, Cage and Liz became friends. In order to spend more time with Liz, Cage used his predictive powers to know that Liz was about to go to the suburbs, and then Cage lied that his car had been stolen and successfully took a ride. The two talked and laughed all the way until Liz arrived at the Indian tribe in the suburbs. It turned out that Liz had been a volunteer teacher here, and this time she had come to deliver a birthday present to a certain student. Cage also wanted to express his wishes. He came to the little boy and did a little magic for him.
I found this rock out in the canyon, and I want you to hold it, because it's a magic rock. It's magic. Happy birthday.
Liz hadn't expected Cage to have such a tender side, and she was beginning to like him. The two continued on, but the continuous rain caused the road to collapse. On the advice of the repair crew, the two had to turn around and go to the hotel on the way. At that time, there was only one room left in the hotel, and Cage kindly lit the fireplace and then went to the car to spend the night alone. Liz, feeling cared for, was very relieved. She lay on the bed, unable to sleep. She couldn't help but get up to look at Cage in the car and wanted to ask him to come in and rest, but out of a girl's reserve, she still resisted the urge to make a sound. The next day, the sun rises and Liz, who has just finished bathing, comes out of the bathroom. Cage presents her with a small gift he has prepared for her. While the two were enjoying their sweet time together, the CIA found Cage's trail. In order to use Cage's predictive power, they sent a large number of police forces and planned to arrest Cage. However, the scene was discovered by the terrorist organization, which was secretly watching. The goal of both sides was to capture Cage. However, since Cage was with Liz, his predictive power changed. Liz went out alone to buy food, but she was targeted by both the CIA and the terrorist organization. The reason why Kenny of the CIA did not forcefully enter the room was because she was afraid of being discovered by Cage's predictive power. Kenny took the opportunity when Liz went out alone and invited Liz to the car for a detailed discussion in the capacity of the CIA. She showed Liz a video of Cage holding a gun in the casino.
Delusional. Sociopath.
Although Liz didn't want to believe it, the video couldn't be faked, and there were officials there to testify, so her heart instantly collapsed. They took out a pill and asked Liz to put it in the drink. It only takes 5 minutes to put Cage to sleep, so the CIA can go in and arrest people. With the mission entrusted to her by the CIA, Liz reluctantly returned to the room. At that moment, Cage was washing up. Liz followed Kenny's request and put the pill in the juice. It took more than 2 minutes just to administer the poison. This was also to prevent Cage from predicting it. Just as Cage was about to drink the juice, Liz interrupted the task and told him everything that had just happened. To prove that Kenny was lying, Cage had no choice but to show Liz his predictive powers. He turned on the TV and was able to predict every line of every TV station. This alone was enough to prove Cage's superpower, and Liz was willing to believe him. But now there are two groups of people outside who want to catch Cage. In order not to involve Liz, Cage asked her to follow the instructions on the note. Cage himself went to lead the pursuit of both sides away. Seeing Cage running towards the hillside, a large number of detectives chased after him. The terrorists raised their sniper rifles in the darkness. At that moment, Liz stepped out of the room, started the car engine, and let the car slide down to knock over the wooden water tower. The chaotic objects all slid down the hillside, giving Cage more time to escape downhill. Cage's plan was quite successful, but Kenny was already waiting in the middle of the road.
You know you're not gonna shoot?
While the two were at a standoff, the debris on the hillside rolled down. Seeing Kenny in danger, Cage rushed to her rescue without hesitation. Although the danger was avoided, Cage was trapped here. Arriving detectives rescued the two. Seeing Cage being taken away by the CIA, the terrorist organization was not about to leave empty-handed. They set their sights on Liz, hoping to use her to force Cage's hand. At this point, however, Cage has been fitted with a device that prevents him from closing his eyes. The CIA makes Cage watch the news all the time so that he can predict where a terrorist incident will occur. Cage has no choice but to keep trying to predict the future. However, Cage never expected to see Liz caught by the terrorists and killed on the spot. Such an ending tore at Cage's heart, but he still had a chance to prevent the tragedy. Cage immediately agreed to join the CIA and promised to help with the investigation. Accompanied by Kenny, he arrived at the scene of the Liz bombing.
2 hours from now, they killed Liz. Right there.
But Cage was afraid to go out on the balcony because a sniper was lurking nearby. The terrorist organization used Liz as bait to kill Cage. As long as Cage was dead, no one would know where the terrorist organization's nuclear weapons were. To break the stalemate, Kenny ordered the signal towers within a 3-kilometer radius to shut down, preventing the sniper from reporting the situation. Cage then came to the balcony, used his predictive powers, and dodged the sniper's bullet at the moment of fire, revealing the sniper's position. Without the threat of the sniper, Cage used his predictive power again and saw that the terrorists had brought Liz here. The only clue at the scene was the license plate number on the car. Kenny got the plate number and immediately asked her subordinates to find the owner's information. By this time, the terrorists were ready to act. However, they never expected to be surrounded by a large number of police before the car left the park. The terrorists refused to surrender and fought with the police. Cage used his predictive powers to tell the police exactly where the terrorists were hiding, and the CIA eliminated the terrorists one by one. The terrorists took Liz hostage so that the CIA would not dare shoot them. Cage used his foresight to run ahead of the team. Though he was hit by a fatal shot, it was only the future he was seeing.
Catwalk, 2nd level.
Got him.
With the help of Cage's superpower, the CIA quickly located the head of the terrorist organization.
I've seen every possible ending here. None of them are good for you.
Liz was saved, but the threat from the terrorist organization did not end. They had already secretly transferred the nuclear weapon. Cage tried to use his predictive powers to find out. By the time he found the location, it was too late. Do you think this is the end? Actually, this is the future Cage envisioned. Since he has been with Liz, the time range of his prediction has increased greatly. In order to keep Liz out of the crisis and save the city at the same time, Cage took the initiative to find Kenny and made every effort to change the disaster that was about to happen in the future. If you really have the ability to predict the future, do you think it is good or bad?